Boom! Come on, get him! Yeah! Get him!
Kill.
Oh, another one! Another one! Woo! Quadruple! Oh!
Freaking believable!
Damn, did you see that?
You looking for a stamina 1 PvP build? Insane burst? Great sustain? Non-CP battlegrounds? Or CP or non-CP campaigns? Which can also take a punch? Wow. Don't look any further, let's get started. Shall we? So before we get started, I always like to open up my big fat mouth and talk about the pros and cons of a certain build. This build, first of all, is optimized for battlegrounds and non-CP campaign. This doesn't mean though that this build doesn't work in the CP campaign. It's actually working very well in CP campaigns as well. I already did some 1 vs 1, 1 vs X and 2 vs X situations in the CP campaigns as well in the non-CP campaigns. So let's talk about the pros and cons of this build. We're going to start out with the pros. First of all, great burst potential. This build can literally nuke down people as well as just keep the pressure up on people. Which brings us to number 2, good sustain. You can keep the pressure up, you will have good sustain with this build. Also, the gear is semi-normal to obtain. It's not hard. It's not easy either, you know. It's what I kind of mean is the grind itself isn't that hard either. It's more time consuming, you know. So what you need to do is slaughter a ghost, sacrifice, you know, just do it in your backyard, and hopefully the RNG gods of the Elder Scrolls Online will bestow their blessing upon you and give you the pieces you need with the right traits directly. Another great thing about this build is the movability. We use 7 medium armor, so great crits, great damage like we already said, and great movability speed wise. So now we talked about the pros, let's talk about the cons. This build can be a bit hard when faced 1 vs X situations. Like I said, you can take a punch, but you're definitely not as tanky as a Templar or a Dragon Knight, something like that. So you gotta watch out, you know, you can get nuked down if you have several opponents using their ultimates or abilities all at the same time. If they really coordinate that, it can be a bit tricky if you 1 vs X. Another con of this build is you can out-heal 1 vs X situations. And like I said, out-heal. So what I mean with this is, your healing is fine, you know, don't get me wrong. But when you're having a 1 vs 3 or something, you can't just heal through the damage. You need to roll dodge, use line of sight, stuff like that. Also, you don't have any snares on this build, which can be a bit tricky. But overall, you nuke your enemies down before they can really respond. Or you just keep the pressure up. Just don't let them cloak. Well, that was enough talking from my part. Let's get some good gameplay going. Hopefully you will enjoy it. If you are like Ruben, man, your builds are so epic. They are good, man. Just skip till the end. Then we directly get started with the build setup. Okay, so let's get started with the gear. What you want to use is 5 Viper, 1 armor piece, 3 jewelry and a 2-handed weapon. You can go for whatever armor piece you want as long as you keep 1 monster set open. The rest you fill up with Bone Pirate and then you use 1 monster set. Monster set can be Molekina, Stormfist, Bloodspawn, an increased max stamina, any of these. As long as it's increased max stamina, stamina recovery or increased weapon damage. On the back bar we have a sword and shoot agility. Agility gives us extra max stamina, which is really nice when we are using figure. So enchantments. On all the small armor pieces you want to go for max stamina. On the 3 big ones, helmet, chest and legs, you want to go multi-effect enchantment. On the jewelry, I myself am running 3 weapon damage. It's really nice, lots of burst potential. However, it can sometimes be a bit hard sustain wise. It's not really hard, but let's say when you get pressured by a lot of people and you don't have line of sight. So you can go for 2 weapon damage and 1 reduced cost, though personally I would go for 3 weapon damage. I'm not really having sustain issues at the moment with this build. It's mostly, you know, if I get pressured by a lot of people, but yeah, then I don't think a reduced cost will save me anyways if I'm facing such a situation. On the shield we are going for an increased maximum stamina. I was thinking about a tri-set on this one as well, especially with the infused trait, but go for max stamina because it's mainly a back bar for figure. On the sword we have an increased weapon damage, and on the battle axe we have this deals 6.1k magic damage to undead and Daedra. What you can also go on it is oblivion or disease damage. So let's talk about traits. On all the armor pieces, all of them, impenetrable is the best. Okay, I have on 1 small piece by the way multi-effect, but don't do it, it's not worth it. Go on all of them impenetrable. I don't have it myself yet, I still need to grind some of this again. Really love grinding. But yeah, impenetrable is so important, especially in non-CP. Crits hit you so hard, you don't really have a lot of crit resistance because you don't have CP points. So impenetrable is a must. Okay, on the one-handed sword you want to go defending. I still need to make mine gold, but I would really go for a defending. Axe, sword, doesn't really matter, just don't go for a dagger. And a shield you want impenetrable as well. Infused, second option for the shield. And on the battle axe you want, of course, sharpened. Yep, that's it. Stats, we have 20 in health and 44 in stamina. We have 21.5k health in battlegrounds. I don't have Untitled yet. When we have that you will have around a little bit over around near 22k health. Stamina we have around 30k in battlegrounds. Boon, we are currently using the Serpent and we use WS Cameron thrown drinks. So let's get started with the skills. We're going to start with the back bar. First ability is Ice Fortress. Increase psycho and spell resistance by 5.3k for 24 seconds. Also reduce incoming damage by 8% for 24 seconds as well. Number 2. Well, everyone knows this one. But if you don't know it, Shuffle. Only ability you can get from the meme armor. Number 3. Subterranean Assault. Second ability from the animal companions. Great DPS, great burst, reduce enemy psycho and spell resistance by 5.3k. It's not too expensive, and what is really nice about this is it's an AoE and it takes time for it to show up. Now you perhaps think, oh, it's not instant. Well, first of all, that would be way too overpowered. But it's also really nice, for example, to plan it with your burst, which I'm going to tell you in a bit with the rotation video. Number 4, we have Crystallized Slap. Fourth ability from the Wind's Embrace. I chose this morph on purpose. On each successful absorption, a projectile is sent back to the enemy for 1.6k frost damage. Now I know, this isn't a lot of damage. It's not really about the damage, it's more about absorbing the enemy's projectiles and then sending it back so you don't take the damage. There are a lot of magic sorcerers in the battlegrounds, so this is extremely useful. Especially when you're having a melee character up in your face and a mech sword in the back attacking you. You can just use this. These are the only 2 magic abilities we have anyways. And this one lasts 24 seconds, so after that you can just invest all your magical recovery into Crystallized Slap. Number 5, we have Resolving Figure. Well, this is our Stamina Heal, Alliance War, Assault second ability. Ultimate, this is Healing Figure. And honestly, I picked this ultimate because I didn't have Figure in the beginning yet, but to be honest, it's an incredibly strong ultimate. And I'm probably going to hold on to it. You can also slot Werewolf here if you want more recovery. If you're running, for example, a really good group where you have a dedicated Templar healer, you don't need this healing ultimate. But if you like me, solo queuing, you know, with randoms, and sometimes you just like the healing, you can save your whole team with this. It's such a nice AoE healing. It's such a nice insta healing for you as well. You can save your own ass with it. It does so much AoE healing and it's so cheap as well. So it's a great ultimate. Definitely recommendable. Otherwise go Werewolf or even one-handed shoot ultimate could be possible on this bar. So you can go fully nukem. If you're going one-handed shoot ultimate, go for Spell Wall, by the way, that it reflexes back. So, 2-handed bar, let's start. Number 1, Cutting Dive. Cutting Dive, Stamina Morph, of course we Stamina. 8.1k damage, unmorphed, I mean unbuffed. It's such a cheap ability, it's undodgeable. They can cloak it however, but it's so nice, you know. It's ranged, undodgeable, it's so nice. Number 2, Critical Rush. Our Gap Closer, also dealing incredibly much damage. I mean, I have so many crit rushes which deal like 8 to 10k in the battlegrounds. It's so nice. Number 3, we have Dizzying Swing. Basically, this knocks the enemy back. It's really nice to use Dizzying Swing and then directly after that a crit rush, you know. Once you landed the Dizzying Swing, you slowly walk backward or do a roll dodge and then directly a crit rush behind it for the extra bonus damage. Number 4, we have Executioner. Increased damage against low health targets. We just want this increased damage because overall you don't have a lot of AoE. So an AoE execute wouldn't be that useful. Number 5, we have Bull Natch. Restores almost 4k stamina over 24 seconds and also gives us 20% increased weapon and spell damage. If you're having a hard time healing wise, go for Rally. This is what I ran as well before I got my figure. I got my figure just by doing Battlegrounds. I didn't go Cyrodiil. So if you have a problem with healing, go Rally. If not, go Bull Natch. If you're having sustained issues, definitely go Bull Natch. Try to keep it up 24/7. Bull Natch also has the advantage that it's free. It doesn't cost you anything, you know. So every time before you engage with something, just make sure you are recasting it because it doesn't cost you anything. Ultimate, Dawnbreaker of Smiting, yes. Not too expensive, great DPS, instacast, and you can of course, well, animation cancel, very useful. Great DPS, great knockback, combined with the Slayer from the Fighters Guild, 3% extra weapon damage. So, talking about passive abilities, all the class passives, 200 and 100 shoot passives, medium armor passives. You could get your Soul Shatter. Undaunted. Undaunted Metal is a must. Undaunted Commando, well, it's quite useful as well, to be honest, with synergies. Assault and Support, especially Assault Continuous Attack and Combat Frenzy. Combat Frenzy, of course, very useful in the battlegrounds as well, especially with Deathmatch. And our racial passives as well. I'm just going to show the rotation real quick on an NPC. This is plenty of times in PvP, non-CP battlegrounds as well. And if you can land this way I'm doing it, 99% of the time you will have a kill. It's so incredibly strong, it's so much burst. So obviously I want my increased weapon damage. There we go. I don't have a light attack up at the moment, so I don't have the extra damage from that. What you want to do is your Subterranean Assault, Cutting Dive, Crit Rush in, and then it all comes in at the same time. You can even do an animation cancel with your Dawnbreaker and then an execute. That works very well as well. But then you just have a basic understanding of how this works. So once again, Subterranean Assault, Cutting Dive, Crit Rush in, boom. You see? It all comes in at the same time and that's so incredibly strong. It are 3 abilities which come in at the exact same time. If you combine that with your animation cancel with Dawnbreaker and an execute, I mean, even really tanky guys have a hard time surviving that burst. It's so much. It's so much. So let's get started with the champion point system. This is just for the people who want to play in Cyrodiil with the CP campaign. If you just stay in non-CP and Battlegrounds, you don't need this. 11 in Warlord, reduced cost of break free. 3 in Sprinter, in case you need to run away from a big Zerg, useful. Siphoner, when you do damage with a light or heavy attack. Reduce enemies recovery by 6.2%. Tenacity, increase the magic and stamina you fully charged heavy attacks restored by 11.5%. Increase magic recovery by 3%. Arcanist and 64 in Mooncalf, increase stamina recovery. If you have less CP, put a few less in Tenacity and Arcanist. 35 in Tumbling, reduce roll dodge by almost 15%. Shadow Ward 11. 29 in Blessed, move on. 15 Psycho Weapon Experts, 30 Master at Arms, 38 Shattering Blows, 10 Precise Strikes, 32 Piercing, 56 in Mighty. If you have less CP, put a few less in Shattering Blows, around 30, 25, and a few less in Mighty and Piercing. Medium Armor 12, 21 in Ironclad. Hardy, Elemental Defender, Spell Shoot and Resistance, you want to keep those up equally. So 4 in this, 4 in this, 4 in this, 4 in this, etc, etc. 10 in Thick Skinned, 16 Expert Defender and 23 Quick Recovery. That was it. Thank you guys for watching. Do not forget to subscribe for much more ESO content, Morrowind, just in general ESO content, PvE, PvP, gold guides, grind guides, everything. Have a great day. Bye bye. See you in Tamriel. I'm gonna be on my... Oh, I fucked up already. So enemies beware. I've never seen a king. He's talking about my pubes? On my beard growth? I mean, okay, I'm out. Fucking...